Hello, fourth grade. This is Mr. Freiberg. This is pages 6 and 7 of your your take home or your homeschool packet, and so we're going to go through. It's got some cool stuff. It's going to be rounding, so rounding is a lot of fun. Then there's just some basic addition that goes with this, but we're going to talk about rounding here first. So what I'd like you to do is to put together I'll show you what I have down here. Let me scroll down. I'd like you to put together a vertical number line, okay? A page that has a vertical number line on it. And then on the same page or on another page, you could do just a place value chart. Maybe on another page, a separate one. Kind of like this larger one I have down here that we were using last time. So you need a place value chart, very helpful. Always have one of those. As soon as you sit down to take a test, you should just make a place value chart. It's a great skill. And then we're going to use a vertical number line. And this one you can do for each problem. We're just going to be making a vertical number line. So you'll have to get some paper ready. Okay, so I'm going to pause the recording, and then when I come back, we will take a look at the first couple of problems. I'm on page 6, and there it starts. Let me pause this, let you get your stuff, and then come back. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do some rounding. Rounding, it's really fun. There's a lot of ways to do this. There is a shortcut, but first we're going to just look at taking each of these. We're going to put them on our place value chart and use the vertical number line. Okay, so the first one, and it's important to read the directions because this says round to the nearest 10. So it's not like sometimes you'll get a problem, it'll just say estimate, and estimate means you can decide which is the best way to round. But this says round to the nearest 10. I wrote 72, 172, 2,572, and 101,372 on down below. So I'm going to go down there. Hopefully you've got your place value chart and you've got a vertical number line set up. So I just went ahead and did this. I've got a place value chart right next to my vertical number line here. Okay, my first number we're going to look at is 72. So I'm just going to put that on. Let me move. Let me get me out of the way here. I'll move me down here. Whoa. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so I'm going to do 72. So I'm just going to write the number 70. Oh, I don't know why that happens there. Hold on. Let me get back. Does some weird stuff here sometimes. I think it'll be okay now. Let's try it again. 72. And we're going to round to the nearest 10. So on a place value chart, you can just say, well, I'm nearest 10. That means I'm only going to use the digits up to the tens place. And everything after that, it should be a 0. Okay, so the nearest 10. So by the nearest 10, then, for example, if you use a place value chart, you can write, when I'm finished, I'll have only 10s in this number and no 1s, nearest 10. So 70 then becomes your first end point. So when you're rounding and using a vertical number line, you're going to have what's called endpoints. And of course, don't make it complicated. Those are the points that go on the end. And a midpoint. And of course, that's just going to be the point that is in the middle. Easy, right? And all rounding is nothing fancy. It's just which number, which end is this going to be closest to? Okay. Again, we're rounding to the nearest 10, so we have 70. We kind of figured that out from our place value chart, so our number is greater than 70. And then rounding to the nearest 10 means I am jumping up here by 10, and this is 80. So jumping by 10, 70 to 80, because we're rounding to the nearest 10. The midpoint then really becomes the most important thing. Right halfway between 70 and 80 is 75. The last step is, well, which end is our number closest to? Well, let's go back and let's put 72 on the number line. And if we do, we'd say, well, 70, well, it's definitely less than 75. And so let's say we put it right here. So 72. So it makes it really easy. It is definitely closest to 70. So 72 rounded to the nearest 10. 72 rounded to the nearest 10 is about 170. That's what we're going to put in our answer choice up here. Let's go back and put that one in. Super easy here. 70. Whoops. Okay, let's go look at the next one, 172. So you're going to have to prepare another sheet of paper. Just make another vertical number line. Okay, we'll just stop the tape here and I'll clean everything up and you make another vertical number line. Okay, so we're back. Our next number is, I put them down here, 172. Okay, so you made another vertical number line and I'm just going to put 172 now. So 172. Okay, here's what we know. We're rounding to the nearest 10, so we only are including digits up to the tens place. So that means this number is going to have a digit in the tens and in the hundreds, but it's going to have a 0 in the ones place, rounding to the nearest 10. Again, this gives us the first endpoint. If we just look at our place value chart, we have 1, 7, and 0. So that's our first endpoint. It's just a really easy way to do that. 170. It's different than the last one. The last one was just 70, but this is 170. We're rounding to the nearest 10. That means from here to the next endpoint is plus 10. We're counting by tens. Only interested in tens. So 170 plus 10, 180. Remember, so those are our endpoints, 170 and 180. And rounding is just, well, what's our number closest to? Well, one thing that helps us is that we have to have a midpoint. So what's halfway between 170 and 180? You guessed it, 175. And our rule is, if that number, this is the one we're going to put on our number line, if that number is in the middle, exactly in the middle, or greater, then that means it's closest to 180. Our answer would be 180. If the number we're going to put on the number line is less than or below the middle, then it's closest to 170. All right, so where does 172 go? So it's not too hard. We can tell it's definitely less than 175. So here it is, 172. Our answer is 170. In other words, 172 rounded to the nearest 10, by nearest we mean the closest endpoint, is 170. I put the squiggly line because that means about. 172 is about 170. Okay, let's go put that answer in. 170. Okay, here we go, 170. All right, now we're going to do the next two, and then we'll let, actually, I'll do the next, let you do the next one. You do the next one, give that one a try, and then we'll come back and then I'll talk you through it. So just stop the recording there for a little bit, and then when you come back, we'll talk through that one. Okay, boys and girls, so just a second here. Okay, so we're back. Our next number is 2,572. We're going to round this again to the nearest 10. So we're only interested in digits up to the tens place. That's it. Nearest 10. Everything else will have a 0. So the reason I like using this place value chart is that's my first endpoint. So I can come right down here. I don't have to guess. I can just put it right on there because I know my number is greater than 2,570. But I don't know which ones it's closest to. So again, we're rounding to the nearest 10, so this endpoint has to be 10 away, plus 10. 2,570 plus 10, the next number, 2,500, and what do you think? 80. If you said 80, you got it. So what's halfway in between these? 2,570, 2,580. Well, it's going to be 2,575. Our last thing is then to find this number. So where is this number on the number line? Is it closest to 2,580 or is it closest to 2,572? Well, here it is, right down here, 2,572. I'm going to pause the tape because we got somebody at the door. Okay, so we're back and we've got, so we found that 2,572 is closest to 2,570. So that's what we mean when we say 2,572 rounded to the nearest 10 is 2,570. So let's go put that back on our spot. Okay, so 2,570. Okay, and let's do the last one. 101,372. Let's put that. You're going to want to make 101,372. You're going to want to make a vertical number line again. And then when you come back, I will have that on our chart. Well, actually, I'll just do that right now. Let's take this off here. Okay, and I'll take this guy off here. All right, so again, easiest thing to do is put that on your place value chart. So 101,372. 101,372. Rounding this to the nearest 10, I'm only interested in digits up to the tens place. So this will have a 0, 1 0. So my first endpoint is 101,370. So I come over here, 101,370. I'm counting by 10, so plus 10. 101,370 plus 10, this is 101,380. Halfway in between, 101,375. So 101,375. So where does this on the number line? What endpoint is it closest to? That's all we're talking about when we're talking about rounding. Which end is it closest to? Well, if you put it on here, it's somewhere down here. 101,372. So my answer is 101,372 rounded to the nearest 10 is 101,370. So let's go put that in our answer. 101,370. 101,370. Okay? So now there is a short way to do this. Once you've got the idea of this number, of this vertical number line, and you understand that concept, you could look at 72 and you could realize, oh, okay, I'm rounding to the nearest 10, so I'm interested in this place value. And you could look at the place value next to it and say, well, you know what? This number is in between 70 and 80. Think back to that vertical number line, 70 and 80. So this is where visualizing a place value chart or a number line in your head is really helpful. So if you can think about that, that number is in between 70 and 80. You could say to yourself, it's definitely less than 75. So there, my answer will be 70. Over here, you have 172. So you look at the number in the tens place. You say, okay, I'm interested up to there. So what is this number telling me? That number's telling me, you know, I'm thinking about my place value or my number line. I know I have 170 and 180 on the ends of my number line. Oh, this is telling me, in fact, anything up to 5 that I would have in the ones place is going to be closest to, or anything less than 5 here, right, is going to be closest to 170. If this number's 5 or more, oh, it's going to be closer to 180. And that can become really useful. So if you don't have the time, you don't have a pencil or something to do a paper to do a number line, you can just, oh, let's fix that one here. You can just do like we're talking about and visualize. Okay, there's my number in the tens place. Oh, that's definitely going to be closer to, I know my two endpoints, you know, 2,570, 2,580. So you know, oh, it's a 2. That means it's closest to this endpoint. So you can start to visualize that way. Okay, well, let's just do some of these, and then we'll finish up some of our rounding. This is round each to the nearest 100. Okay, to the nearest 100. So I will do, I'll do 5, and maybe I'll do 7 and 6, I guess. Okay, so I want you to try those first. You try 5, 6, and 7. Work through those, and then we'll come back and I'll work through those with you. Okay, so we're back So let's go look at 180. Hopefully you've got a vertical number line and you've got your place value chart, and we can go through, and then we'll look at 1,180. This time we're rounding to the nearest hundred. Okay, so let's come down here. Ready? Nearest hundred. All right, so we're going to put in 180. Again, the place value chart's really good because I'm going to say I'm only interested in the digits up to the hundreds place. Everything else will be zeros. So my first endpoint is 100. So I got 100. I'm rounding to the nearest hundred, so this endpoint, that means instead of jumping up 100 to the next, or 10 to the next endpoint like we did last time, this is counting by 100. So here's my other 100. 100 or 200. And really, you could probably look at this and say, well, 180, now that we've done a couple of reviews, 180 is definitely going to be closer to 200. It's really easy to see. There it is. So 180 is somewhere up here. So our answer for this one, pretty easy, is 200. So let's go record that. Again, rounding just means what's it closest to? Well, it's definitely closer to 200 than it is 100. Okay. Let's go and check out this one, 1,180. So let's come down to the place value chart. Hopefully you got to make another vertical number line. You can stop anytime. Stop the little recording there. All right, this is 1,180, so let's do that. 1,180. I'm only interested in the digits up to the hundreds place. Nothing below hundreds. Those will become zeros, because that's what the purpose of rounding is, so that we don't have to worry about smaller digits. We just want to concentrate on the larger digits. Makes it easier to work with. So once we do that, there's our first endpoint is 1,100. Super easy on that place value chart. Okay, what's the other endpoint? Well, we're counting by, this is 100, counting by 100. So this is 1,200. So what's halfway in between this? Well, 1,100. If this whole thing is 100, again, then halfway is 50. So I'm just adding 50. Does that make sense? The whole thing is 100, halfway is 50. Excuse me. So this is 1,150. Okay. Let's come back to our number. So where does this number go on the number line? Well, 1,180 is definitely more than this. 1,180 is more. There's our answer. 1,180 is closest to 1,200, rounding to the nearest hundred. All right, so let's go record that. 1,200. Okay. 1,200. All right, so now we get into bigger numbers. You might think, oh, it's going to be really hard. Ooh, 56,000. Time to hit the panic. But it's not. It's not. We're just going to use the place value chart, do the exact same thing we've been doing. So 56,180. We'll go back. Get your vertical number line ready. You can stop this recording anytime and just get that all set. Okay, I'm just going to clean up mine, erase it. Okay. And I'm going to be rounding 56,180. Okay. Again, I'm only interested in the digits up to the hundreds place. Digits below 100, the whole purpose is not to worry about them. So my first endpoint, 56,100. 56,100. I am rounding to the nearest hundred, so each endpoint is 100 away, or this jump is 100. 56,100 plus 100, 56,200. If the whole thing is 100, halfway is I am jumping or increasing by 50. So this is 56,150. So where does this number go on the number line? 56,180. Again, somewhere up here. So what is 56,180 rounded to the nearest hundred? That means which endpoint is it closest to? It's closest to this one. And there's our answer. We'll go record it. 56,200. 56,200. Voila. Okay? So 8, 9, and 10 would be done just exactly like that. I am going to let you work on those. I will come back and just show the answers after you've gone through, instead of talking through. And then we're going to jump down to rounding to the nearest 1,000. Okay, so I just went ahead and filled all these in. Here's 980, rounded to the nearest 100. I just made a little vertical number line so you can see 980. It's in between 900, and if I add 100, it takes me up to 1,000. So that's a little bit of a change. Halfway is 950. 980 is right there. It's closest to 1,000. 1,980. It's in between 1,900. If I add 100 to that, that takes me up to 2,000. Halfway in between is 1,950. That little mark there shows where 1,980 would be. So it's closest to 2,000. 56,980. There's my end point. It's between 56,900. And if I add 100 to this and jump up to this end point, that's 57,000. Halfway in between is 56,950. And there's where the actual number is, 56,980, and it's closest to this end point. I'll circle the endpoints they're all closest to. Okay? All right, let's go to the nearest thousands. Come down here, take a look at these. Okay. So now we're just going to do the same thing, but we're just going to be looking at the nearest 1,000 on our number line. So let's take this first one here, 7,750, and let's go down and take a look at that one. I'll just pause this for a second. 7,000. Okay, so we're looking at 7,750, 7,750, and this is rounded to the nearest 1,000 this time. So I'm only interested in digits up to the thousands place. That means everything else is 0. The hundreds, tens, and ones are 0. Again, if you use that place value chart, there's my first endpoint. 1, 2, 3. So my number, the one I'm trying to round, is in between 7,000, and this time I'm jumping up to the next 1,000, adding 1,000. It's in between 7,000 and 8,000. So if I'm jumping up 1,000 for this whole jump between the endpoints, the midpoint jump is, how much do you think? Half of this. What would that be? 500. Good job. So this becomes 7,500. All right, well, where does this number go? 7,750 is going to go somewhere up here. So my final answer, 8,000. So let's go record that. Okay, 7,750, and it was closest to 8,000. Okay? Okay, let's round this one to the nearest 1,000, 17,750. So let's go down and do that. Okay, that is 17,000. Whoops, if we can get a pen working here. 17,750. I'm only interested in digits from the thousands place or greater. Everything else will become zeros. So I'm working just with thousands. So there's my first endpoint. So 17,750, whoops, is somewhere between 17,000 and got to jump up here to 1,000. My next 1,000 up, 17,000, 18,000. Halfway between is now half of 1,000. I'm jumping up by 500. That's my midpoint, 17,500. So where does this one go on the number line? It is not there. No. It's greater than 17,500. So somewhere over here. Final answer, it's closest to 18,000. So let's go record that. Okay, so I'm back. I'm not sure. My battery ran out of, or the laptop ran out of battery power, but this should be 18 right here. Okay, 18,000. That's the last one that we looked at. So we're rounding to the nearest 1,000. Let's do a quick look at 25,750. Okay. Let's just try that one right here. Now that we're getting a little better at this. Okay, let's just try. I'll just make a vertical number line. And I'm rounding to the nearest 1,000. So I'm only going to use the digits up to the thousands place there. So my bottom number is 25,000. I am rounding to the nearest thousand, so that means my other endpoint will be 1,000 more. That's 26,000. Since my whole distance is 1,000, the midpoint is 25,500. And if I put this number on my number line, it's definitely more. It's closest to 26,000, so my answer is 26,000. That's what this number is rounded to the nearest thousand. Okay, let's do the same thing over here. We'll pick a different color. Now we've got 70,000. We'll do a number line. Put 2 endpoints on there. Again, we're visualizing our place value chart, so I'm rounding to the nearest thousand, so I'm only going to be interested in digits up to the thousands place. That's 70,000. Only rounding to the nearest thousand, so 1,000 more, that would be 71,000. The midpoint, if this whole thing, this whole big step is 1,000, then that means half of that is 500. So my midpoint is 70,500. So now, let's put the actual number here on the number line. Where does it go? Up, somewhere up here. So my final answer, this number is closest to 71,000. And as you get better at rounding, you would look at that and say, wow, I'm going to round that to the nearest thousand. 70,750. Whoa, that's like getting close to 71,000. And that's how you get faster. Okay, same thing down here. Let's do, we'll do number 15 on the number line. 65,321. This is the nearest 10,000. Okay, so let me move down there. I'll pause this and I'll move down. Okay, so we've got our next one is 65,321. We're rounding to the nearest 10,000. So guess what? Now we're really just interested in this digit in the 10,000s place or higher, but we don't have any 100,000s or millions. So everything that's smaller than 10,000, we don't care about. We are rounding to the 10,000s place, okay? And you might do this if you were dealing with some really large numbers, like maybe you're counting up, you're a biologist and you're counting, like a flock of birds. You just trying to get a round estimate for, how many were in that flock. Okay, so we know 60,000, so we got 60,000. Nearest 10,000, that means that this jump up here is not plus 10 or 100 or 1,000, it's plus 10,000. So we're counting by 10,000s on our number line. So 60, 6 10,000s, this would be 7 10,000s or 70,000. This means that halfway in between would be plus 5,000. So this would be 65,000, right? Okay, that's what we mean. We're rounding to the nearest 10,000. Our number line is counting by 10,000s. And then we come and look at here and say, well, where is this number on the number line? Well, it's 65,321. It's just a little bit more than this. 65,321. It's just a little bit more than midway. But that means it's closest to this one. So there's our final answer. So let's go put that down. All right, so we've got the, so there's our answer, 70,000. And again, we could kind of use the shortcut for this as you get better. You could say, okay, look at my number, 65,321. I'm rounding to the nearest 10,000. That's the place value I'm interested in. Let's just look at the number next to it. Whoops. Let's look at the number next to it. That's a 5. So that's telling me already that on that number line, I'm already at the halfway point. So if I'm at the halfway point on my number line, I'm going to round up. That's what's helping me know I'm going to round up to 70,000. Okay, let's go down and take a look at this one. 165,321. Let's just see if we do kind of like a little bit of a shortcut on that. I'm interested in the digits up to the 10,000s place. Right there is what I'm interested in. So my question is, what's going on here? I'm already at the halfway point. So I'm thinking this is probably going to be 1, and this is going to be 170. Whoops. Okay. All right. Let's go see if we can, oh, I think I made, oh boy, I messed that one up there. Hold on. See if we can fix that. So I'm already thinking this is going to come up because it's at the midway point. Okay, now let's go take a look on our number line and see. And again, a vertical number line, great way to do that. Okay, we have 165,321. So 165,321. And what's that going to look like on our number line? We're only interested in the digits 10,000 or higher. Everything else, we're rounding. So that means we're not interested. It's just going to be zeros for us. So there's our first endpoint, 160,000. I left this up. We're counting by 10,000, so 160,000. This would be 170,000 because we're rounding by 10,000s. Half of 10,000 is 5. So if I add 5,000, 165,000. And here's where we already know. When we put this number on the number line, we looked at this earlier, we already knew that that 5 was going to be in the middle or more. And sure enough, there's our number, 165,321. It's closest to 170. Let's go write that down. Okay, I'm going to finish up right here. So again, we found it was 170,000. What I'm going to do is just upload this video, and then I'll do the next video. We'll do the rest of this page, page 6, I believe, and then it'll do the next page. The next page won't take as long. And again, the nice thing about the video is you can go back and forth. You don't have to watch the whole thing. You've got control. You got control over the teacher. You can tell him when to be quiet. You just push the stop button and say, that's it, I've had enough. But I hope this is helpful. Rounding is a critical skill. You're going to do it next year in 5th and beyond. Thank you very much for your work. I know it's hard to be at home, but hopefully we'll keep trying to do some more. We'll do some more fun things with these videos in the future. But that's all for now. Bye-bye.